I see. Hmm. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Since I reviewed the original Nightmare on Elm Street, here are my thoughts on A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Why is the Freddy's Revenge part in this? It doesn't that part doesn't really like take place in the movie. Why not just call it Nightmare on Elm Street 2? The gay one. My positives on Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, is that I do like how this whole movie is where Freddy's kind of messing with Jesse, where he's like living off of his fear because, if I'm not mistaken, he's probably the biggest pussy of this franchise. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not trying to sound mean or derogatory, but he screams a lot in this movie. He's probably the first ever dude scream queen or scream king. Huh. Anyways, I do like that whole thing where he's kind of living off of him. Like every dream sequence, he's kind of living off of him, and he's trying to get Jesse to kill for him. He's messing with him. He's using him. Like every time he kills somebody, he frames it on him, and he kind of makes himself. He kind of makes Jesse look crazy, where everybody's worrying about him. Like, what's that one girl's name? Lisa. God, I keep forgetting her name. Lisa, where he's just like, I'm fine, but she knows there's something wrong with him. His parents, like his mom, thinks that he's going crazy, and his dad thinks he's on drugs. I like that whole thing where Freddy's kind of making Jesse look crazy and everything, where he's losing lack of sleep. And we follow him throughout like the entire movie, like every single scene he's in it. Like he's legit like main character. Yeah, sure, like Nancy was the main character of the first movie, but I don't think she was in like every single scene. Well, at least part of it, anyways. Positives. I really do like the third act of this movie. I'll talk more about the first act in a bit, but I've always really liked the third act of this movie where after he comes out of Jesse, he goes to the pool party, lays waste to everybody, and then it goes like that to the boiler room and everything, and why do I keep forgetting her name? Jesus Christ. God, Lisa. Why do I keep forgetting her name? That's a huge issue. I keep wanting to call her like Jessica for some reason. Lisa is like going to the boiler room trying to save Jesse, and then weird makeout sesh happens. I don't know. I think the third act is way better than the first two acts because to me the first two acts kind of move slow. Again, I'll get to them later, but to me the final act, the first two acts of this movie have always moved slow for me, but the third act is where it's like, oh yeah, Freddy's part of this movie. Quick, have him kill like 5 people. There you go. Positive is that I've always really loved the scene where Freddy like comes out of Jesse, where he's kind of been feeding off of him, and he's kind of like got enough like energy or something. I don't know how it works, and then he like comes out of like it comes out of Jesse, and then like a cool that's a really cool practical effect there. Like, yeah, sure, in 4K it looks well not 4K like Blu-ray it looks like really goofy when he's like coming out and he's like stretching and everything. You can see Jesse like his practical effect. You can see the fake head. He goes, I don't know. Every time I see that, I fucking crack up. Like I was watching it last night and I fucking lost it. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god, it's so bad. It looks so weird. Like I can imagine back then when it was first shown, it's like, oh, that looks really cool and it's creepy. But watching it now, it's like, what the fuck is that? On to my mixed aspects, and that's the characters. I don't hate these characters. I feel that they're not as great as they were in the first movie. Now, continuing forward, I don't think they're also that great. But I do enjoy the Jesse character. I've always really enjoyed him. Might have to do with pure nostalgic. Maybe that's what makes me enjoy him in this movie. Because, yeah, sure, he's a pretty gay. Talk about that soon. But I don't hate his character. A lot of people seem not to care for his character, which I understand. But I've always liked him. He's cool. Anyways, I also like Jesus. I keep forgetting her name. Lisa. Lisa. I need to remember that. Lisa, not the greatest love chemistry in the world, but I do think they have decent chemistry there. I do feel they're kind of love there. And she's pretty hot. So I need to know. I don't really care for Jesse's parents. That I feel that's why it falls in my mixed aspects. I do enjoy Jesse and Lisa, but his parents, I'm like, what? His father accuses his own son for using drugs and doesn't try and help him out. He just thinks he's crazy. But his mom at least tries, but she's just kind of there. She doesn't do anything memorable. She doesn't do anything that's great. She's just there. And then you got like Coach Schneider, whatever the fuck. Yeah, Coach Schneider. He's kind of like a pervert. He's kind of a pervert because he makes his students do like weird ass push ups. He makes them take showers, which a gym coach should do, but he does it in a really awkward way. He also goes down to like gay bars like past midnight. It's like, what the fuck? Like when Jesse goes down there, like for some reason, why is he going down to a gay bar? Hmm. It's not. I don't think he's gay because he did try to have sex with Lisa. I don't think he's gay. But anyways, he goes down to like a gay bar and then he's just there wearing like a leather jacket, like a weird like leather attire. And it's like, dude, that looks super fucking gay. And these characters are not enjoyable compared to the first movie and the ongoing sequels. These are some of the weakest. Now to my final mixed aspect. Now I'm going to try and do my best here. I want it before I even say anything. I'm sorry if you get offended by this. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just saying my own thoughts on it, and I'm also trying not to be that I'm also just not trying to offend the LGBTQ community. I'm not trying to do anything like that. But this movie is very gay. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I'm being derogatory. I'm not. If you look this up, look, I'll probably have an image up here so you can see it. Look up gayest horror movies ever made. Freddy's Revenge will be either not will be in like the top three, top two. Hell, I've even seen some that says that it's the number one gayest horror movie ever made. It's held that crown for possibly being the gayest movie ever made. And first, it doesn't hugely bother me. I've never had a huge issue with it, but when you watch this entire movie, it is very gay. I'm it doesn't bother me too much. The one of the reasons it's actually gay, the person that plays Jesse in this movie, he was actually gay at the time, but he never actually came out and said say it. But years later, he has recently come out as gay, and he is in fact married to a man since 2005. But when you watch this entire movie, it's kind of hard not to see a lot of the gay aspects. The screenwriter of this movie says that he never intended it to be gay. I call bullshit because there's scenes in here where there's like naked dudes going down to a gay bar and then Jesse doing like this weird fucking dance where he's like putting on a cap and listening to like a girl singing and he puts on sunglasses and he closes the drawer with his ass and then he takes like a weird like thing where you can push out and like a ball comes out and he's like putting it against his crotch doing a weird dance and then pops it when his mom walks in. It's like, are you sure you did not write this movie to be gay? And I'm just making sure because I don't think that he meant to make it gay if he did wrote a whole scene where he's just dancing and everything. And something that I've also read into, the person that plays Jesse in this movie actually quit acting after this movie came out because everybody saw the final result of this movie, they never intended it to be this gay. They intended it just to be a Freddy Krueger movie, a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but some of the scenes that they put into it, it made it make look very gay. And the person that played Jesse quit acting for a while because they felt that they chose him because he was gay and they were trying to make him come out as gay. Sure, it sounds dumb when you think about it, but totally respect his reasoning, but years after he's finally come out as gay and he looks back at this movie and he feels that he respects this movie more, and him and the person that's played Lisa have actually come out recently and said that they would love to return for another Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I'd like to see that, honestly. But it's hard to notice that this movie isn't gay. It doesn't bother me. I'm sure it doesn't bother too many people. I've actually seen a lot of reviewers say that this is very gay, and that's one of the reasons I don't like it. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's gay, but you shouldn't hate it because of that. It's hard to miss it, but I feel you don't need to bash on it just because it's a gay film. On to my negatives. This movie has really nothing going on in this movie. Now, to me, this movie's only an hour and a half. Let's keep that in mind. To me, the entire film, when I was watching it, like 5 to 10 minutes of random shit will happen in the real world, and then it just cuts to, and then it's Jesse's in a dream with Freddy Krueger. Then Freddy Krueger stuff happens. Um, okay. I feel that they didn't know what to do. When you watch this movie and the rest, not this movie, but the first movie and the rest of the series, they actually have something going on outside the dream. Like Nancy in the first movie, she was like figuring out what Freddy is, how to defeat it, and how to like escape him. But in this movie, it's just random shit, and then Jesse losing his mind, and everyone's just wondering what's wrong with him, and then it'll cut to him in a dream. Oh yeah, and he wakes up sweaty every time. Why? Who the fuck knows? They just say it's hot and they don't really explain it. I feel that they only made it hot and sweaty just so the guys and the girls could see a hot, sweaty guy and his junk. Okay, I understand that, but anyone who complains about it, think of how women feel when they shoot a lot of horror movies where they're naked. Look at the Friday 13th movies. How do you think they feel? Exactly. Girls need to have their eye candy too. Oh, and my final negative, I already kind of talked about this before, but the first two acts of this movie moves very slow. It, like I said with like I just said, 5-10 minutes, nothing really happens, and then it'll go to a dream. That's basically the entire first act. The dream sequences in this movie are very cool, I will admit that, but I want something interesting happening outside the real world, outside the dream world. But the first two acts, like the first act, 5-10 minutes, something will happen, and then it goes to a dream. The second act is just Jesse kind of losing his mind, and everybody's wondering if he's okay. And then you got the third act, which is much better. And then, like when Freddy actually comes out, these first two acts move very slow, and it's kind of hard to get through it. It's like, will something just happen? It's hard. It's hard for me to watch this movie and to not notice how slow the pacing is. Either get a better screenwriter or something interesting happening outside the dream world. That's all I have to say. Guys, I don't hate this movie as much as everybody else does. If I watched this movie 3 years ago and reviewed it, I would be alongside with all those haters being like, oh, this is the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie ever. I understand if you don't like this movie, but the gay side to this movie, it's never really bothered me. But I still get some enjoyment out of this movie. Maybe it's because of pure nostalgic. I watched this movie a lot when I was younger. After every time I was done watching the first movie, I would always put in the second movie because I never had the third movie at the time. But if you want to watch another Nightmare on Elm Street movie, this movie is for you. If you don't mind slow pacing and if you want to see a bunch of gay shit happen, this movie's for you. This movie's definitely not for everybody. So just go ahead and stream it. What do you guys think about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge? Have you seen it? What did you think? Do you actually like this movie, or are you like a lot of other people and just don't care for it? Let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you'd love to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. But, of course, until my next video, see you next time.